Hello, good evening. You are welcome to RLI Show. This is a program that is designed to expose, guide, and give you preventive measures on issues that affect you and I and the society at large. My name is Laisha Hilia, and I am your host. Today we shall be considering drug abuse. Joining me to do justice to this topic is Dr. Renan Moven. She is a clinical psychologist, also the CEO of Saving Life Foundation, located in Jos, Plateau State. Doctor, you are welcome to RLI Show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show today. And I'm excited to be here. And I'm also looking forward to sharing my insights and expertise with the viewers.
All right, just as I have highlighted earlier, we are discussing drug abuse. And drug abuse can be referred to as taking excessive drugs or a means of taking illegal drugs without without the doctor order. Doctor, I don't know, is this assertion true? Because this is some of the thought of some people.
Okay, actually, drug abuse is the illicit way of taking drugs. Or, in other words, you can say drug abuse is the wrong way of taking drugs. Some of these drugs that are misused can be cocaine, marijuana, and so many of them. And these drugs can lead to addiction, mental health issues, and social problems, which has a serious consequences on an individual.
All right, so you are trying to tell us that drug abuse, it is something that is being done deliberately. This is a deliberate act.
Sure.
Wow. Okay, doctor, what what does that mean? Every drug is subjected to abuse?
Okay, every drugs may be subjected to abuse if such drugs is taken or is being misused without the doctor's prescription. So yes,
All
it
right.
is.
So if these drugs are actually being misused, who are the target audience that mostly consume these drugs?
Okay, the age group that are more likely to fall as victims of such drugs are people within the age range of 15 to 35. So such people are vulnerable to such acts.
All right. So you are telling us that once a person have reached 18, it means he have reaching the adolescent age. This is what you are trying to.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So if these drugs are this kind of group of people normally abuse drugs. So does that mean it have an effect on them? What I mean is that does this drug affect their brain and the nervous system?
Yes, actually it does. Okay, first of all, let's look at the term nervous system. Let me break it down. Nervous system, they are those tissues or cells in the human body that controls how the body functions. So if those cells and tissues are being tampered with, then automatically the body is not going to function well. So it can damage the brain chemistry. The brain chemistry in the sense that it makes one addicted to such drugs, and it can damage the brain cells, which can have a long lasting impact on that individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, doctor, does drug abuse contribute to the development of mental health disorder such as depression or anxiety?
Okay, yes, it does. It contributes to mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety by causing existential issues in the human body. Existential issues in the sense that those issues, those mental health issues in the human body that has been there for a long period of time. So if you are as an individual, you are under the influence of such drugs, those issues in your body that has been there, it makes it like it worsens the situation. It makes it more worse. So yeah.
Okay, so you are trying to say when you are taking drugs, for instance, a person is having some disease that are hidden.
Yes.
So once you
Yeah,
consume
yes,
such
yes.
drugs, it will now prompt
Yes,
them.
sure, exactly.
Okay. Doctor, what are social consequences of drug abuse? So, all right, doctor, what are some of the social consequences of drug abuse?
Okay. Some of these social consequences of drug abuse can be loss of friends. Sometimes you as an individual who is under such drugs, you tend to lose some of your friends. And sometimes it could be maybe in your working place, that's job loss. A lot of cases has been brought to me about such act where individuals are being deprived of some good things in their various offices. And so basically those are some of the social consequences on an individual.
All right, viewer, just as you have heard our expert have highlighted some consequences. If you are a victim of drug abuse, there is a tendency that if you are a worker, you might lose your job because that competency that before you are demonstrating, you might lose it. Doctor, so what are some of the signs that you someone can notice that this person is a drug addict?
Okay, there are numerous of them.
Okay.
Sometimes you tend to know those people from their friends. They tend to change friends, and sometimes you could see the signs on their lips. Sometimes darkening of the feet, and then they neglect their personal hygiene. They tend to be dirty. They don't take care of themselves at some point. So those are some of the signs you can notice on an individual who is a drug addict.
All right, if
Yeah.
you are following us, we are discussing drug abuse, and some of the signs that our expert have highlighted is the person will deprive himself from associating with people, and he will just have some sign on his lips.
Or her lips.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we are going for a short break. Don't go away. Stay tuned. Come back from that beautiful break, still on drug abuse, and I have the family of Mr. and Mrs. Gideon Sambo who have experienced this drug abuse before and are willing to share their experiences with us on this show. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gideon,
Yes, sir.
I have some questions for you. How did you get yourself engaged into drug abuse before?
Hmm. Okay. Actually, getting myself into drug addiction is not something that started uh, at all at once. It started from depression. It started from some feeling of guilt, and then uh, some level of rejection and so on. But then I started taking this drug as seeing it as a solution, as many do. You know, I felt as if I could take this drug, that could ease me and help me escape from certain thinking, certain thoughts. and all of that. But as time went on, I gradually uh, began to discover that the drug addiction itself was another pain I had added to myself. Okay, so you see,
Okay.
as life continued, then I lost a lot of confidence in myself. I was no longer the usual young guy everybody knew in my place. So I lost a lot of confidence. Then it became a burden, a strong burden, and a pain to me. I was now looking for means to do away with. See, so it was a very gradual and chronic process.
All right. So
Yes, sir.
you venture because you feel you were depressed before.
Mm.
Okay. How did you realize you needed help?
Hmm. How did I realize I needed help? Sir, on many levels, I realized I needed help. First, from my family, I noticed the children themselves lost confidence in me as their father. I would come back home before I got myself addicted. I noticed the children would give me this warm welcome, running to me. But as time went on, I began to, come back home late and looking drunk, and they could no longer recognize the father they once knew to be loving, playful, and so happy. And then it
Okay.
caused a lot of, uh, the children completely lost this kind of confidence. And then to my wife, I was causing her complete, let me say, it was something that she really found it to be, unimaginable. Let me use the word. So she began to lose trust in me and all of that. So it was really a hard time for me, sir.
Okay. Let me hear from your wife.
Mm.
Madam, how did you cope with your husband when he was a drug addict?
Okay, it was quite challenging though, but I had to prioritize self care and then
Okay.
set some boundaries and then seek for support from loved ones and professionals to cope with the stress and the emotional toll.
Okay. And what were some of the challenges that you faced during that period?
Okay. Our relationship faced challenges of communication, trust, and intimacy. In the sense of communication, if my husband here did not take all the stuff he's taking and he don't have money, small thing gets him angry, and then the children will not want to have a fatherly and children relationship. Everything gets to upset him actually. And then in the issue of trust, I have this fear that whenever I keep something, he might take it to go and use it and buy all this substance. So the relationship was not us, it was not okay. And then I had to cope with the love I had for him and taking care of the children and also the pain his addiction caused.
Wow. All right, Mr. Gideon,
Yes, sir.
how did you manage your home when you were a drug addict before?
Okay, how did I manage my home? Did I really manage my home? It was a total mess for me, actually.
Wow.
I tried my best to still be the man I used to be. There's this thing in all men, you want to still own something even when it's not going well. In terms of providing, things were not really going well for me because the addiction had really gotten into me that it affected even my work. I would go to work, and then due to the intoxications I had in me, then it would not allow me to freely operate in where I was working. My colleagues saw it and it affected me. So my income was affected. My boss, noticed it, and I made little mistakes out of the intoxication. It affected even my income. I had to start taking loans. I had to start borrowing money, to keep myself up with what I was taking as at then. So it affected me. It affected the money. It affected what I had to even manage the home. So managing the family was not really going well for me. And like she said, at some point, I would even come to the room, scatter up things, just looking for money to, buy up this substance and keep myself going, which was really tough for myself and much more tough for her. So it was more like she was the one managing, and I was just being, I was just struggling, and that was just how bad it was then.
Okay, viewer, if you are hearing us, it means if you are a drug addict out there, managing home, especially if you are a married person, you will find it difficult for you to manage your home effectively because of this addiction. Madam, I have another question for you. When your husband was a drug addict, did you seek support?
Yes, I did. Actually, at first, I thought I could handle it by myself, but it became worse that I had to seek for support from friends, families, and professional help too. And
Okay.
then I also advised my husband to seek for help too. I make him want to do it on his own terms. Let it not be like I'm forcing him to want to. So we seek for help, and then they prescribe some drugs for him that could help him to move out of the addiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Gideon,
Yes.
what are some of the advice are you going to give our viewer who is watching you currently now about your last word?
Okay. First of all, before I delve into that, I would like to let them know that okay, I'm one person who have seen how bad drug addiction can get, and then I'm also a person who has successfully walked out of it, and I'm doing fine. I'm doing better. My life is even more simple and more loving. In fact, my wife here loves me even more, and life have been so good thereafter. And then, if you are out there as a young person, as a husband, struggling with addictions and wondering how to do it. Now, it has to be intentional. Like my wife said earlier, she had to make me see the need, and then in myself, I desired to stop it. So it was a genuine intention for me to let go of this addiction. So, I intentionally did it for myself. Now, I want everyone out there who is struggling with this to also be intentional about it. It's one thing to want to stop, and it's another thing to take intentional actions to stop it. So I took action, sorry, that helped me. I went on therapies, I went on a lot that could help me. In fact, I took my religion serious. I even became more serious. I went to church more often. I listened to words that could redeem me, that could give me, hope in stopping it and lots more. So these are one of the ways I help myself. So if you're out there, you can try some of this method. If you can't go on professional help, like seeking a therapy out there, you can also take the little things that matter the most, like um, help yourself define yourself. Let me put it that way, because some people dive into this addiction without really defining who they really are. So this
Okay.
they began to seek some kind of identity from this drug. Some is even out of peer pressure and so on. So you see, some is out of that, not really understanding their own identity. So I had to understand who I am. Okay, I asked myself, Gideon, who really are you? Do you need this thing to become who you are or become a better person? I knew I had every good thing in myself. So I learned to build on all of this. So if you're out there, learn to build on identity, learn to build on yourself, you know, learn to trust people around you, and also learn to respect every love, care, and learn to understand that at every point and situation you are of depression, you should understand that you are better than another person, and it can also pass away, because that's what many people don't understand. Heart conditions can pass away. It can, if actually you put God in control and then you believe in yourself, take certain intentional steps, and it will all pass. So that's my own take on it, sir.
Okay, madam, what did you have to tell our viewer, especially those who are passing exactly what you passed before?
Okay. To my fellow women out there who are facing what I faced or what I went through, I would say that you should not be worried too much or depend on anything. Just prioritize your own self-care and then set boundaries in everything you're doing. And then if you need to look for solution, do it as soon as possible so that you will not regret it.
Yeah.
And remember, you can't control the addict's behavior, but you can control how to manage it. Thank you.
Thank
All right. Thank you so much for having you.
you, sir.
You're
No, no.
welcome.
Uh, Today we learned that drug abuse can change the family dynamic, but it can and it can never shake that family, e- except maybe